Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Ooh. Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are back with more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, and of course we are jumping right back into episode 5, Rise from the Ashes. We are on day 3, and this is after the trial now, for certain. I know this for certain. So last time, Emma came in, unexpected, by the way, after we had already established that Marshall was the one who was in that room with Officer Higgles, or whatever bro's name was. The guy who was incompetent, right? So right before Lana was convicted guilty because we disproved the fact that the murder happened in 2 separate places and that those are 2 separate events, Emma comes right back in to start telling some crazy stuff. I'm assuming, right? There was a cliffhanger that I ended on the last video, right? Sorry about that, by the way. But ladies and gentlemen, let us lock in for what is about to come. Your Honor, wait! Emma, the defense has an objection, a scientific objection, right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please, hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Okay, look at Mr. Generous over here. I feel you. All right, Emma, you better speak some crazy stuff. I was in kind of a shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Darke killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Skye sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. Oh, so did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Right? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. Oh, bro. Emma, I'm sorry, but this is kind of weak. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you! Me? Oh boy. Right? I'm starting to feel like I'm getting a lot of hopes and dreams on my shoulders. Time's up! Now then, Mr. Wright, with regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? Oh gosh, bro. I don't know, Judge. What do you think? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Yeah, something about that definitely hasn't been examined yet. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, sir, Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. It's time to lock in. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something that I'm missing? Bro, I object. Let's be for real. We already know there's got to be something wrong. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. I'm Edgeworth, by the way. The only thing that seems clear is that you're grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yeah, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood marks. I wish Phoenix would clue me in on this, because I don't know what he's talking about. Let's just pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. All this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans? That something is missing? What do you mean? Okay, hold on. Alright, let's think about this for a second. What can we discern? A screwdriver, perhaps? A glove? Oh, bro, I don't know. Is it the video? No. As they say back west, even a blind man can hit with a buckshot. That is, so long as he's facing the general direction. It seems Mr. Wright's not sure which direction to face. It's no use. The more evidence there is, the greater the chance of me being wrong. Just calm down, Mr. Wright. Try and remember the evidence room was like on the... Oh, okay, so I was on the right track. I just need to actually... I need to select the right thing. It was the Blue Badger? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Yeah, please, I really need this too. I need the explanation so bad. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not there. And? So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Okay. Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing there, it would be impossible to place a Nah, this is a reach. Even for Phoenix Wright, this is such a reach. What? So what he's saying is that basically the murderer could not have put his hands on the locker because the Badger was there in place. See, that was my initial thought. I was like, well, the Badger's not there. But then I thought about it and I was like, so what if the Badger isn't there, right? Like, would it really matter if the Blue Badger wasn't there to begin with? Because I thought Marshall had said that somebody could have came and put prints on after the murder, or the prints were there. But I guess what they're saying is that during the murder, the murderer would have been able to put his hands on the locker. But still, I don't know. We'll have to see where this goes. What? Yeah, let's hear the rest of this. So that means, just exactly what does that mean? What does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me. I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean his blood mark... But like, what does it prove? Because all it does is prove is that somebody could have easily just like, well, the camera was there, so maybe not. But I'm thinking, bro, I thought there was a walkway beside it. I thought when we moved away from the camera, the killer could have like braced himself on it because there could have been space between the walkway. So they're saying that that was like literally right on top of that locker. Oh, brother. So that must mean his blood mark was left where the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. Oh, look who's decided to speak Old English now. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's actually the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera, right? Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time. Right? Okay. So did it happen before or after this instance, though, is the big thing. I would say after, because the handprint's not there with the Badger, so the handprint must have been put after the Badger was moved. Somebody bled prior to the struggle on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first... Yep. I don't know if it's going to be one of those things where I lose health, but I have a feeling. Oops, I accidentally screenshotted. To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that could show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? Hell yeah. I got you, Judge. I got you, Judge. What shows when the first crime took place? Alright. 221 SL9. So we have the massive voice crack, by the way, but we have a few things that could tell us this, right? I would honestly say that this would be the best thing, but we'll see. It's either this or the ticket, because guess what? 5:17, Edgeworth arrived at his office, so it can't be that ticket. It has to be this. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it, and in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh, the ID card record. Yes. Officer Meekins brought the blue badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, at 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have just had 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's take a look at that chart again. There's only one other card number remaining, which is 777. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of, I didn't get to see it because I skipped over again. That's because I rest my finger on this right mouse button and it skips. Since there's no record of this card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 77777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I am unable to look up the owner of that ID card, at least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 77777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge is filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. Aren't you a part of this, bro? You work for them. I take pride in my work. Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yeah? No, not to you. To her. The defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we looked up her ID number, and it's not 77777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Ooh. Are we digging now? Okay, Lana. Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. What? Lana! I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant! Just what the hell are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you or did you not really present all the evidence in court? Can you look at me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't... I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to. In order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. Ooh! What? Oh yeah. Another day of investigating it is. Oh, brother. Well, it's a wrap. See, that's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! 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 Oh my gosh. Lana's remarks caused an uproar. The chaos in the courtroom could not be compelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. Alright, February 24th, 3:12 p.m. 3:12 p.m. Wright and Cola offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm so sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. Yeah, so we did learn that they forged some evidence. They did some really sneaky deaky stuff, okay, behind the scenes. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Darke killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Darke convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Darke's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? Like, for real, tell me. On the night prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Darke tried to kill me. Whoa. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother Neil was only trying to save me. Oh, this is a lot deeper than I thought. This goes a lot deeper than I thought it did. I apologize, Emma. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you were a victim or a potential victim. I'm glad he didn't get you, though. So that means you... Yes, I was a witness in the Joe Darke trial. I didn't see that one coming. Oh my gosh. So let's talk about it. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day. Quite unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Darke. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. That's a terrible sight. Could you imagine that? I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Darke tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out suddenly. A bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? What about after the incident? I don't remember the moment when Darke stabbed Mr. Marshall, but... So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved with falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that the crime occurred? I know what I see, an onion head. Are you serious? What is this going on? Bro, what kind of extreme mousse do you have to put in your hair to make it look like that? Because, that looks wild. That looks like a soft serve ice cream cone. Oh, Jimmy Neutron head looking crazy. Darke knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently, I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma, you've been through so much. Yeah, that's crazy. Who is she? She's not testifying to anyone, though. I couldn't bring myself to testify about the incident. Like, come on, Capcom. We couldn't have, like... There was a couple dollars in the budget you could have thrown towards, like, at least making it seem like this was an actual trial. Or is this supposed to be symbolic and, like, nobody was on her side, so she couldn't see anybody in the crowd beyond just herself? We'll go with that because the budget theory sounds a little bit cheap. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable. Wow, that's wild. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something weird that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Darke had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course, this happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices in this questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Darke case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective. I better have another talk with her. Okay, yeah. I mean, was that really all that puzzling? Bro, they already talked about how they were fumbling or forging evidence. That's not really like a big deal, I feel like. Finding that out shouldn't be a big deal because, I mean, a detective has like at least from what I understand, a detective has like first-hand like experience with the evidence. So like chief prosecutors, I mean, maybe they do too. I mean, that would make sense. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. I sit at my desk at home and I play video games, bro. And when I'm not doing that, I'm working on that computer back there because I work remotely. So what do I know? You know what I'm saying? I'm not a detective. It'd be cool though. Maybe not, because then you might end up getting caught up in some mess like this. February 24th, Detention Center. Lana? Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about the unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Okay, let's talk. Today's trial. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. Working with this dude, bro. He's still not out of the picture yet. There's something about him that makes me feel very odd. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Oh, sorry, that's Emma. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked with crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged for my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about the investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Darke. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, an Angel Star. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Darke was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Darke. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Being the first one at the scene of the crime, Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Darke that day. The investigation was in its final stages and Darke must have suddenly panicked, so he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. So he was in questioning with Gant and Marshall, the other Marshall, or maybe with the current one, and then that one ran into the room. Let the guards down, then fled to the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Darke. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Darke. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Darke had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her, after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Darke under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence. I don't buy it. What are you saying? I'm saying that's bullshit. There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Darke. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Darke at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself, the chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Okay, so what I gather, Gant is the one person that they don't bring up enough, okay? Because he is the one person who has, like, been, like, the chief, because he was chief prosecutor at the time, right? Or at least was, like, chief detective, I don't know, something like that. He was the chief of something. Police? I don't know. He still had hands-on information on both the case, executive information, the ability to enforce decisions. And he's just in the background of all of this, while everyone else has been, I don't know. I obviously, the forging of evidence and like is still suspicious, but she's already in jail and nobody else really knew about it. It was really between only just her who did it and whoever maybe she did it with, but like they're not in the picture right now. So my number one thing is I think that something is up with Gant. Edgeworth is clearly clueless. I mean, he comes up as just somebody who just wants to do his job and just ends up getting tied up and stuff. But wow, okay, that's wild stuff. All right, let's see where else we can go to first before we try to do some other things. Let's go to the underground parking lot. No one's here today, not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case, but instead it looks like we ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Alright, well, I feel like we should probably go... Let's see what's up with Edgeworth's office. Mr. Edgeworth isn't here. Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee? He took a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago, I guess we'll just have to come back later. Alright. So let's talk about where we need to go to next. Let's head here. Okay, we got Marshall. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall, how are you not arrested? Weren't you just trying to falsify evidence or trying to steal evidence? Like, how are you still here? I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? Oh, now he writing songs and shit. I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance. But we all know I won't be coming back. Okay, I see. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But, Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prosecutors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Let's talk about it. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Darke's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there is a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. What? However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. Wow, that's young. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the king of prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transfer. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. Okay. There was something going on behind the scenes. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him, too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Ema Skye. Okay. The investigation lead, Damon Gant. Oh, that's right, he was an investigation lead. Damon Gant, his second in command, Ema Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. See what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about? Arranged for her to get chief prosecutor after forging evidence. If you really felt ashamed, I don't think you would have given you and your person that you forged evidence with a promotion. Like, get this dude out of here. This dude blows hot dog water, bro. Just give me a second to like cook, okay? Here's what I think happened. I think Gant set this whole thing up. I don't know why yet, but he did, hands down. Because something is just not making sense. For one thing, he had Edgeworth absolutely get like, he got him like out of here, or not out of here, but got him reprimanded already for using falsified evidence. Or not, no, that's not what it is. For dismissing the officer, because he did that on purpose, I feel. But not only that, but I also feel like for whatever reason, I don't know, he has been trying to orchestrate a takedown of everyone involved in that case for I don't know. I thought I was cooking for a second, but now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, I know that he is guilty or in some capacity has a foot in this race. I just don't know why yet. But when we get to that point, I'll cook. So just hold on the banquet for now. I'll give you in a second. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Not a secret. It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? What do you want me to give you, a Yelp review? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. Yeah, he didn't even know about the evidence being forged. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is a C? Yeah, y'all can't be, nah. Y'all know exactly what I said, right? Suspicious. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Aw, bro, I feel kind of bad that he's gonna be losing his job. Okay, but you can't even feel bad if you're going straight to the bottle as soon as you know you're about to get fired. Like, bro, like, clean up your resume at least a little bit and, like, give yourself some time to, like, get prepared for the next role. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. You know what would be so sick is if in the later games, Lana or, what's her name? Maya, I think. Not Maya. Maya's the one who left on the train. If, Emma becomes an actual investigator underneath me, that would be so lit. Because then that's like my office and I have her. I have Maya also helping me out with investigations. That'd be so lit. Anyways, back to this. So we can't actually go in there, but we might be able to talk to Gumshoe in the office. So let's try it anyways. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media, and tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Okay. Oh, bro. This place reeks of pompous, like, behavior. He actually has a whole organ in here. Is that how he gets his theme played? Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. What kindergarten takes organ lessons? Look at me talk like I got a talent. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Maybach music. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. Bruh. I never could remember where C was. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, righto. Have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too, with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. And Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. Why, how time flies. Okay. See that big picture on the wall over there? Yeah? What's this? What's that? Oh, I don't know, just like a suit of armor. That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. Wait, there's that vase. There's that vase in the back. And there's the prosecutor. Nah, these things have a lot in common. And guess who's in this office right now? Mr. Gant, brother. And her muffler too is a part of it, but not kind of not really. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. Gantt team picture added to the court record. So I think, yeah, the vase has a lot more relevance to it. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Like, yeah, bro. What did I say? I called it. I don't care what y'all say. Called it. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet. After all. What do you mean? Chief Gantt denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's got to be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Oh, we doing some illegal activities? Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone a coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, either of you been... Oh, wait, no. Say, either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No, why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world. Oops. Yikes. Okay, the Edgeworth crisis. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Ema Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor has kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now, with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again together sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. It seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Let's talk about that sometime in a little bit. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Darke left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed the prosecutor marshal? Or prosecutor marshal was trying to protect some girl. Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Joe Darke was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man. Oh, sorry. He killed a man as he yada yada. A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. And bro, let me read. A jogger came upon scene was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Okay, so he just killed multiple people for no reason? Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in? Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Darke was arrested on the spot. Sorry, the gears are turning a little bit. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. Okay, so what's interesting to me, alright, so what I'm thinking is that something happened that day, right, obviously, that transformed him into a killer. They say that the rumor has it that he just hit someone with his car. Then as he got out of his car, kid came out, killed him too, then a jogger walked by and then he killed him too. That sounds incredibly fake to me. I don't care what anyone says. Fabricated. So I'm wondering if during this whole tampering of evidence, we had to... Basically, I wonder if Gant had put him or painted him as the killer. Just found some random dude, made him the killer, to get him inside the office because he wanted, for some reason, Marshall to die or wanted something to happen in the office. I don't know what it is yet. Again, he has no motive so far. But he's my number one suspect. A, because he had us kicked out of his office, which was technically a crime scene. And B, because his name keeps appearing everywhere. So what I'm thinking is, again, he had some random individual, hear me out, he had someone, random individual commit a crime, paid him off heavily. He's a businessman. Paid him off heavily. Told him, hey, look, I can secure your future and your kids or whatever future you'll have left versus or whatever kid or whatever future your family has or whatever. Hey, look, I can pay that all off. You just gotta do this for me. So he does what he does, manipulates him, kills somebody, kills multiple people, gets him straight to the office. That gives him a reason to be there. Okay? Under Gant's watch and Marshall's watch, he goes to Gant's office, or at the time, Lana's office? Yeah, he goes to Lana's office where Emma is waiting. He goes and I think he was looking for Marshall, maybe? I don't know yet. I don't know all the details, but for some reason this feels heavily orchestrated by Darke, but we'll see.